Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Tony Blanco podcast. Today's video is going to be super short and concise, straight to the point, filled with value. This is an actual framework and 5 psychological hacks you will use to essentially better yourself in a situation where you're handling rude people. Because rude people want to get us off of our baseline. They want to affect our peace, and we just can't let them. We are going to be using insights from psychology, neuroscience, behavioral strategy, and philosophy. The reason why I use these standpoints and these viewpoints instead of just like looking at it from one point of view is because from a holistic standpoint, you have a lot more to work with, right? And what I mean by that is that we have the tactical viewpoint, which is using practical actions you can take in the moment. We have the psychological viewpoint, which is rooted in research and behavioral science. I'm actually using like mindset stuff from a neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman, and also a negotiation expert, Chris Voss, which I told you about in previous videos, and I have no problem going over it again because these are essentially my mentors. You know, even though I don't know them one-on-one, I read their books, I watch their podcasts, I listen to them, and it's very valuable stuff. Philosophical standpoint as well, because it builds long-term emotional intelligence. Philosophy changes the way that you look at things. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So this is actually like helping you to expand your mindset. And even if you don't learn the tacticalness or the psychology behind it, if I could at least affect your psyche to where it's philosophical and I'm expanding your mind, then we're growing, okay? So, number 1 is stay calm because it disarms them. So when someone is being rude, you don't react. You respond accordingly, according to the situation, with power. And essentially, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to something. You have to understand, if somebody can get an emotional reaction out of you, they control you more than you control yourself. And I've called myself, I'm not perfect. I'm teaching you from a point of learning, okay? The more that I can teach something that I'm learning, the better that I could cement that thought into my brain. The better that I could cement that teaching into my brain. So I'm essentially teaching myself. You understand? Number 1, stay calm. It disarms them. And this is coming from Andrew Huberman style insight, where he's a neuroscientist, studies the brain. Slow your breathing. Inhaling through the nose and slow exhales through the mouth. This regulates your nervous system and it keeps you in control. When you're keeping yourself in control and calming your nervous system, you're regulating your cortisol. Remember not to let them shake you up or move you from your baseline. Your baseline, your peace, your medium, that's where your power is. And when you overreact or you're reacting, then you are reacting to their stimuli. You're giving in to them. You're allowing them to control you. We don't want that. So somebody's being rude to you, you take a deep breath, and you move into number 2, which is mirroring them with restraint. This comes from the viewpoint of Chris Voss, who is an FBI negotiator, lead hostage negotiator, who wrote the book Never Split the Difference. The reason why I believe that's so important, especially his backstory, is because a lot of modern day negotiation teachings, they want you to, meet in the middle, make it a win-win situation. Listen, when people are acting irate, when they are, trying to get a emotional reaction out of you, they're essentially an emotional terrorist. And like the US government, we don't negotiate with terrorists, because once you give them what they want once, they do it again and again and again and again. So cut the cycle, cut the shit. Stop with the trauma cycle, okay? Only you have the power to change that. So stay calm, take a deep breath, and mirror them with restraint. Repeat their last few words calmly. It diffuses tension and makes them feel heard, which often de-escalates conflict. You could show them that you have empathy. Not sympathy, empathy. You could respond to them with their last few words to display to the person that's trying to get an emotional reaction out of you that you understand, without saying the words, I understand. Because I is very much like I, not we, not you, right? And you gotta understand, like, even though I'm saying rude people and saying like we don't negotiate with terrorists, like, dude, you think about it. Like, nobody's really walking around just being a horrible person to people. Usually it's just because like they're reacting or overreacting because they don't feel understood, they don't feel heard. Maybe it's at work and it's somebody that like you're dealing with that their family or their partner does not make them feel heard, does not make them feel understood, and they're lashing out on you. We'll get into that in a few, but you got to understand, have empathy for people. You know, they're not your enemy. It's the situation that's the enemy. So they're coming up to you and they're acting irate. You want to stay calm. You know, it's not you versus them. It's them overreacting and you stay in your calm, okay? And you mirror them because it builds subtle control on your part. You're making them feel heard, helps to lower the tension, and you're using that psychology, you know? And I looked up like what's a specific example that this could work in. And so let's say you're at work and a coworker snaps at you. Why didn't you send that report earlier? I've been waiting all day. And your mirrored response, calmly, waiting all day? I went calm and up at the end, waiting all day? And you're not like trying to poke the bear more. You're really genuinely concerned. Like, waiting all day? You're confused, you're concerned, right? And what happens psychologically is that their brain hears their own words repeated back to them. It forces them to pause and reconsider what they just said. Worst comes to worst, they're gonna keep elaborating, right? Which is okay, because you just gather info. That's okay. As long as you're not the one overreacting. Let them react. Let them do what they want. But you mirror them and they start either realizing that they are overreacting, or they'll give you more info to work with. So that's okay. You know, either way, we're good. You're not fighting back. You're gently reflecting their aggression without absorbing it. This creates space for de-escalation without giving up your power. You want to put space between their stimuli and your response. So the likely result would be that you respond to them with all day, and they say, yeah, sorry, I've just been overwhelmed and I didn't realize I hadn't checked my inbox. So this is the mirror technique. You know, people feel heard, it throws off their emotional momentum. Instead of fanning the fire and throwing gas on it, you reflect it just enough for them to recognize that it's unnecessary, that they don't have to be acting like that, okay? So that's the example. Number 3, you maintain composure for power. Remember, all these psychological stuff, this is all for staying in your power, not allowing for them to take your power. Because every day you're dealing with power struggles, okay? The best thing that you could do from a stoic standpoint is have power over yourself, okay? I'm not telling you how to take over the world. I'm not telling you how to take over your workplace, but you'd be surprised with how much power you display and how much people will look at you as a confident and powerful person when you simply control your damn self. So number 3, observe. Don't absorb. Observe. Remember, stay calm, mirror with restraint, and observe. Let them respond to you. You maintain that composure for power. This is coming from the viewpoint of Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. Never let emotions ruin your image. Calmness is social dominance. He says reputation is the cornerstone of power. Don't stoop to their level. Your calm is dominance. Yo, when people overreact, they're like a chihuahua. And you being calm, bro, they can't take that shit. Like, they can't stand that shit. They're like, why is this motherfucker so calm and I'm freaking out? It makes them like really like, bro, question their existence. It makes them question their life, bro. So stay calm. Remember, from you know, far away, when I look at two people fighting, it just looks like two people fighting. It doesn't matter who was right at first. Once they let go of their emotional control and they give in and they start fighting from a distance, it just looks like two people fighting. You know, and then what happens at that point? You run in, you tackle them, the cops are like, you know, they put both of them down. It's horrible, right? But when you maintain your calm, let the other person keep freaking out, the cops have to show up or something, they see that that person is freaking out. And that's the person they're gonna have to deal with or handle. You, they're like, oh, thank God, like this person's not freaking out too. Let me ask a level-headed person what happened. Remember that. Remember that. I've been through a lot of situations where the cops show up and the person acting irate, even if they were right in the beginning, it doesn't matter. Because once you start acting irate, you lose the power. You lose your composure, you lose your reputation, all of that. So just stay calm. Observe and don't absorb. Number 4, ask disarming questions. Ask a disarming question. It's a behavioral trick. Instead of reacting, ask, are you okay? Again, genuinely concerned, genuinely curious. Did I do something to upset you? Flips the emotional script, right? It breaks their pattern and it makes them self-reflect. It changes the tone. Now, AI gave me that, you know, but me personally, I would probably keep going with Chris Voss, which was introduced in number 2 with the mirroring, because what he likes to do is to do what's called an accusation audit. So instead of asking a disarming question like, did I do something to upset you? Listen, if you know that you did something to upset them, don't ask the stupid fucking question. Did I do something to upset you? Like, yeah, no shit, you did something to upset them. Like, I know, bro, like, I've had girlfriends that, like, if I said that shit to them, they would freak the fuck out, you know? Like, did you do something to upset me? Yes, you fucking did, right? So we're not gonna ask that disarming question as much as we will do an accusation audit, which is clearly pointing out the elephant in the room, okay? So let's say, you know, you said something with a tonality that upset your partner, okay? And you sense that their vibe changed as soon as you said it. And then now they're upset. Are you really gonna ask that stupid ass question? Did I do something to upset you? You know you did something that upset them. You know that the vibe changed when you said this specific thing, so you could address it. I said this and it really got you upset. Point it out. Now, shut up, silence. Let them respond to it. Because then they're gonna open up, because now they really feel understood. They really feel heard. At least they know that you know what you did to piss them off. And now they're gonna start, you know, changing that emotion. And now instead of anger, maybe now it's sad. And they start, you know, giving you that information that you need now to work with. Like, yeah, you know, it just really upset me when you said this, because it makes me feel like you just don't care and da 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 da. Let them get it out. Let them get it out. Okay, that's fine. Let them get it out. Don't smile. Don't laugh. You know, if you want to be playful, if the situation calls for it, I don't know, that's you. Don't poke the bear. Don't play with fire, man. You know, we all have our own ways of dealing with things. But, you know, I like to carry this air of, like, you know, freeingness, freedom, and you know, light laughter. Keep the tone light. You know, I don't like heavy vibes. So the disarming question, it may work in some situations, but I would go with the accusation audit, because it really shows tactical empathy. It really shows that you feel them, that you understand them, you know, and it'll change their emotion, where instead of being angry and reactive, now they're gonna start, you know, calming down and explaining why it upset them, right? And number 5, see the shadow. Carl Jung. I made my last video about Carl Jung. Seeing the shadow in others can help you heal or respond wisely. And everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So use their behavior as a mirror, not a weapon. You know, people were rude to me at the restaurant yesterday. One could say, oh yeah, they were being rude, but to me it was like, okay, they're just people, you know. And I had a playful tone in reaction to everything that they said. It was like a little playful, a little like, you know, philosophical, a little like, I don't really care, but I do care enough just to respond to you with tactfulness. And I'll give you an example so you really understand. You know, this woman, there was a couple, and the woman, she said to me like, oh, did the owners change? And I was like, no, it's the same owners. And they're like, oh, well, something's different, something changed. And I smiled at her and I was like, well, you know, my love, the only constant in life is change. Is there anything else that I could get for you? And so it's like, yo, like I like throw people for a mind fuck, you know? And so like that's the best thing that you could do, honestly, is respond to it accordingly, stay in your peace, you know, use wisdom, drop, you know, like these little gems. That way people respect your wisdom, respect your authority, right? And then be of service, right? So that's how I dealt with it. I just, you know, I said something philosophical and then I offered to help them with something. Is there anything else that I could do for you? Can I get you another drink? Can I, you know, would you like another beer? Would you like more napkins? Like whatever. I know this is very specific to like my job, being a server and being a bartender, but still, like this is a real life example of like, you know, how I'll deal with the situation. And back to that number 5, to see the shadow, you got to understand that like, you know, your interactions with people will teach you a lot about yourself. And on top of that, like your reflection, it goes both ways. So back to observing and not absorbing their energy, understand that like you did something that irritated them, or else you wouldn't be in the situation. And also understand that like you are the mirror to them and they are the mirror to you. That's just how we are as human beings. So if there's something that irritates you in somebody else, that's something you should take a closer look at and analyze within self to see if that's something that you struggled with in the past or still struggling with, or if that's something, you know, that you could actually, you know, stop internalizing and get over. And also, you know, the most important thing is that everybody's dealing with their own situation. Everybody's dealing with their own family life. Everybody's dealing with their own financial life, you know, and so we react to things differently based on, you know, our own, how we were raised and what the stars, the signs, the fucking everything. Like your experiences in life have shaped you. Your environment has shaped you. The people that you spend the most time with, they shape you. So many things have an impact and an influence on who you are. All of us are so different. We all have like different worlds. All of us have different perceptions, different realities, because your perception is your reality. So don't take somebody else's perception of reality so seriously that you start to question your own, except from a very calm standpoint. You know, you're allowed to consider what they said and what their perception of reality is, and then see like, how does this align with mine? And if it doesn't, that's fine. You keep it moving and don't internalize it. Understand, be like, yo, that's their own shit that they're dealing with. That's not up to me. That's not my problem. You know, you want to live also in the positive, where it's like you are being of service and you're helping people and you're not doing anything wrong that you are shameful or guilty about. You know, live in alignment with your goals and live in alignment with your personality, live in alignment with even your shadow self, which is super important. That last video that I dropped was exactly about that. And speaking of my last video and YouTube in general, so we actually surpassed 160 subscribers. If you're listening to this and you're getting value, please go ahead and like and follow, subscribe. Look up my Instagram. You know, this is probably where you found me. Share one of those videos on your story, because we are growing. The goal is 200 subscribers. And of course, we're going to go to different goals after that. But right now, the goal is 200 subscribers. Okay? So if you found value in what I said today, go ahead and follow. Thank you so much for your time. We're gonna do a quick breakdown again, and then we'll move on, okay? So the framework for the 5 psychological hacks for handling rude people. Number 1, calm your nervous system. Stay calm, okay? It disarms them. Number 2, mirror with restraint. You mirror, okay? Very, concerned and curious tone. Number 3, observe. Do not absorb. Observe. Collect data. Don't react, and don't let them pull you down to their level. Number 4, ask a disarming question or / accusation audit. Please pay attention to what I said about the accusation audit. I don't want the most important thing there for you to be the disarming question. The most important thing there for you should be the accusation audit. Okay, pointing out the elephant that's in the room, pointing out the pink gorilla. Everybody sees it there. Nobody's talking about it. Say it. Point it out. Okay? It's like satire. Why is satire funny? Because you're pointing out what exists. You're making fun of what really is. And that's what, oh my God, that's so true. It's funny because it's true. Satire is true, right? Or maybe I'm using the wrong word. Satire, I don't know, but like the Boondocks, right? For example, it's funny because it's true. Stereotypes, they're funny because they're true. Number 5, see the shadow. Understand the shadow. Understand people and what they're dealing with, and don't internalize it, okay? And if you're gonna internalize something, let it be reflection, a moment of reflection. Check in within yourself, okay? So, control your mind, you control the moment. You master yourself, you master every situation. You have power over yourself, you have power over your environment and the people around you. Be surprised. Remember, everybody wants things, but they don't want to take the work to become the person that they need to become in order to have the things that they want to have. So, be, do, have. Be the person that you need to be. Do the things that you have to do to have the things that you want to have. Okay? So which of these do you find super helpful? And do you see yourself actually using these to handle a rude person? Biggest thing, biggest takeaway, do not react, respond. Don't react, respond. Much love to you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And until the next episode, peace.